Hello, Massachusetts Book Bites. I am pleased to present our book, A People's Guide to Greater Boston. My name is Eleni Makrakis, and I'm one of the 3 co-authors. A People's Guide to Greater Boston is an alternative guidebook that highlights sites relating to struggle, activism, and organizing. We take you to some well-known sites, but more often to ones far off the beaten path of the Freedom Trail, to places in Boston's outlying neighborhoods. We also visit sites in nearby cities and towns that make up the Greater Boston region: Lawrence, Lynn, Cambridge, and Plymouth, to name a few. We bring you to sites central to the people of Greater Boston over 4 centuries. 6 tours explore instrumental moments, themes, and people associated with the Greater Boston region. We thought that instead of showing you yet another PowerPoint presentation, we would take you along for a quick tour of some of our sites. We'll start in Kendall Square at MIT's Data Center. The Data Center is home to MIT's Department of Linguistics and Philosophy. Beginning in 1993, members of the Wampanoag Nation worked with a linguist at MIT to reclaim the language of their ancestors. The collaboration led to an English Wampanoag dictionary and later to a series of Wampanoag courses at Mashpee High School. While Kendall Square is now filled with biotech and tech companies, not long ago there were only a few. We're heading to Tech Square, one of the first tech company clusters and home of the first headquarters of the Polaroid Corporation. Polaroid's connections to South Africa are of particular importance to my co-author, Suren Mudliar.
I grew up in South Africa of the 70s and 80s. Then Polaroid cooperated with the apartheid state. As a young activist, I was inspired by the solidarity of the Polaroid Revolutionary Workers Movement. In moving their employer to withdraw from South Africa, they helped weaken the racist regime. We're off to Central Square and passing by the site of the late 19th century Riverside Cycling Club. It was supported by Cambridge Port's African American residents. Central Square's Middle East is a progressive cultural hotspot. At the height of the Vietnam War, the site housed the Old Mole, a vital countercultural publication. Much as we did while researching the book, we're hopping onto the MBTA, the first subway system in the United States. In fact, we'll soon arrive at its first station, the Park Street T-Stop, right on Boston Common. In our book, you'll find walking directions to most sites from the closest MBTA station.
Hi, I'm Joe Nevins. We're now in downtown Boston. On School Street at Tremont is the Parker House. A young Ho Chi Minh worked at the hotel as a pastry chef in the 1910s. A teenage Malcolm Little, later known as Malcolm X, was a busboy here in 1941. In the mid-1800s, these streets saw struggles over slavery. A key site was the Boston Courthouse, where the abolitionist community engaged in militant protests to prevent the return to slavery of individuals who had escaped. 60 State Street, nearby, is one of Boston's tallest buildings. On this site, the infamous United Fruit Company had its first headquarters in 1900. Now Chiquita Brands, it played a key role in spreading U.S. imperialism in the Americas. Further down State Street is Exchange Place. In the late 1800s, the Boston Bellamy Club gathered at this site. Its goal was to implement the utopian socialist ideals associated with the best-selling book, Looking Backward. Also in the late 1800s, this site was the birthplace of the Xenophobic Immigration Restriction League, an influential national organization. At the end of State Street is Long Wharf, next to which is Central Wharf, home of the New England Aquarium. In the 1800s, it was home to James and Thomas H. Perkins and Company. The Perkins were Boston Brahmins involved in the slave trade. They later became tremendously wealthy, largely by smuggling Turkish opium into China. Their wealth helped to establish the Boston Athenaeum, Mass General Hospital, and the Perkins School for the Blind. This is a very small taste of what we do in our book. We welcome you to read it, give us feedback, and follow us via our website and Facebook. Thank you for listening.